Hey everyone, welcome back, and take a load off as it's time to go into the Pool of Rain, one of the wisest levels of Wario Land 3. So since you can only get to this level after having the butt bracelet that lets you ground pound, there's a little puzzle here. There are these pegs. You'll notice that when you ground pound upon one of the pegs, adjacent pegs will move. And it's not always just one. Yeah, jokes aside, this is a really cool mechanic. I was streaming this right when it came out on the Switch Online, and one of my friends who had no prior Wario affiliation just remarked that this was a really cool idea for a platform level. And I can't help but agree, but also, it's very strange to me that this, mechanic only appears here and it doesn't ever really get any more complicated. Like, that's the case for a lot of stuff in this game. Also, I like this little... okay, weird. Oh, I never noticed that. Okay, so if you... Oh, wait. Okay, it must be, dependent on you being in the center, which is kind of wild, but, yeah, what I was trying to show off there was if you have one of these down all the way, you'll just keep bouncing on it instead of, having it eat your input, which is unsatisfying, but it does eat your input sometimes. Yeah, I'm really curious what determines that. It must be like a... Gosh, I don't know. Something about... I want to say subpixels and sound smart, but... Yeah, it's a fun, intuitive puzzle. I don't have too much to add to it. Just one of the many things that make Wario Land 3 one of the greatest Game Boy Color games I'm aware of. And that's the Pool of Rain, Silver Key, Silver Treasure. Hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching. It wouldn't be really screwed up if I ended the video there. Now, of course, we get the cogwheel, and without a cogwheel, what do we need but a gear to turn it? We have a Town in Chaos up next. This is probably the scariest level in the game, and the hardest. Has the hardest boss for sure. Not in any kind of interesting way, it's just a confusing idea. Oh, we got the ice bears. There you go. I don't think there's any reason to go in here, but you can, so I might as well show it off. You get these cool little pink slime guys showing up for the first time. But yeah, this area is for later treasures, I believe. Yeah, if you're a savvy Wario gamer, you see that closed off red key the first time you enter the level and you think, well, this isn't for me to be messing around with. Not right now, anyway. Enemies have very generous animations switching between modes of attack. I think there's at least one other enemy that does something similar to that. Although the Parasol Waddle Dees are definitely the most ubiquitous. Yeah, here, this I think is, yeah, there's that silver key. What's in the store, you might be wondering. Well, I wish I could hit blocks with my head. That's one thing Wario doesn't have after his alter ego, Mario. But yeah, by switching that block, it turned all, Actually, wait, no, yeah, it's not, it's, you literally see the, slots that the blocks slide between in this level, which is kind of fun. Avoid the cake-slinging chef. And... yeah, I know where the silver chest is from here. Yeah, like, it's pretty clear that a lot of the game of this is just, like, exploring the levels with your limited movement, as tedious as that might be. When you're making a game for the Game Boy Color, I'm not really sure what else you could really do. I definitely feel like this pulls it off a lot more than, like, Metroid 2 does on the original Game Boy, when it has similarly obfuscated design for similar technical constraints. Here they do a really good job conveying a reasonable amount of information with a limited screen space, and I feel like Wario's size and speed works really well with the screen size. Also, like, definitely one of the nicest palettes of Game Boy Color games. Maybe I might not know, like, true Game Boy Color games versus, like, Game Boy and Game Boy Color games that, like, let you pick a limited color palette to replace the grayscale. Thinking like Pokemon 2nd Gen just doesn't really quite do as much with its color palette as this, though. Alright, so here we have another sort of milestone level, and I'm going to make this look pretty easy because I am very good at this game. Look at that, I got the red key, bet you weren't expecting that. Where is the gray key at this level? Kinda forgot. Is it in here? I feel like it's not. This is like probably one of those areas I was talking about in the first part where like there's just a bunch of different stuff and you have to like see it from another perspective to know which way you're supposed to go. Okay, yeah, that was the silver key, good. A little involved, but like it's the end of that area. I should actually show off what the so-called gauntlet was there. Oh my god, yeah, in the like original little analysis documentation I came up with this, I described like each levels of having different setups where some have gauntlets, and this was one of the ones with like gauntlets because to get to the right side of the level you have to like get past this area that was very hard for me to tell on my original unbacklit Game Boys, but you can see there's parts of the grass that are just like, well, yeah, okay, never mind. The vines aren't only on the fall through sections, there are just some fall through sections, and you just have to kind of memorize where they are, basically. Yeah, I don't think there's any kind of graphical cue. Oh, here's Drunk Wario. In Wario Land 2, this was Drunk Wario. It's a purely negative transformation. It basically forces you to have this staggered movement. He will, if you don't hold any button on the controller, he just goes back and forth like this. And he is immune to, like, all projectiles, which is, well, okay. Apparently he's immune while idle, but not while jumping. I did not know that. But, yeah, that is a pure inconvenience one, and god, after, like, running right to the end of the level with no issue, now I'm just repeatedly falling down pitfalls like I'm an embarrassed child. Nah, here we go. Oh, wait, that was the red key, and that means that right here is the boss door. So that lower door is just like where you exit out if you fail against this boss, which I won't be doing. This is the wild worm. So this boss is like really a test of how brave you are, and I guess how good you are at jump tackling, but you have to punch him to get him to retract back into the ground, and then, okay, well, I just showed that off to show what happens if you get hit. He spits rocks at you that turn you into Ball Wario, and you freaking have to do this little platforming segment again. Thankfully, it doesn't have you pass over any of those fall-through tiles. I definitely wanted to show that. I don't know, this just took me out. Maybe it was probably, like, only 10 minutes or so, but I, like, have very visceral memories of struggling to get through this as a kid. Like, it wasn't every playthrough of Wario Land 3 where I even got this far, but I did definitely beat this boss as a kid. I didn't 100% it till I was like a tween, but I'm only human. But yeah, the interesting part of this, along with the second boss, is we have the first music box, which is a special type of treasure that even shows up on our little UI here coming up. Yeah, as you can see, the music box meter in the lower right now has 1 of 5 filled in. I always thought this was like a little castle as a kid, but it's just like a rotating, like, player piano type of thing. And like, it's pretty clear that's what it is here, so I don't know why I thought that. I think it's just I saw the UI version a lot more than this animation. So yeah, because you're in a magic music box, these magic music box do a lot. Like, make a bridge go down. That one's actually by far the most underwhelming one. So this level's gonna look like crap because I'm so good at the game. Oops. Pretend that didn't happen. It'll still look pretty bad if I get it on my second try. Okay, it'll still look like pretty normal difficulty if I get it on my third try. That one that, like, isn't quite spaced as far away as the... Okay, that one wasn't fair. I couldn't even see it. You saw that. This is a classic Let's Player's Gambit. Distract yourself with commentary and performance anxiety, you know? But no, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do it without suspend menu, and I'm gonna do it on this try. You didn't see that. Yeah, a valuable lesson about how persistence and patience and not distracting yourself can pay dividends. But yeah, this is what I would call one of the less inspired levels, at least on a pure design standpoint, in this game. It looks real bad just from that first mission, but it's fleshed out pretty well, and it's a fun concept to have just like a bridge that has stuff on either side and underneath it. I don't know, it adds to like it feeling like a world kind of. And we have yet another thing going back to previous levels. This time I think it's 3 separate ones, yep. So now beanstalks have grown in those 3 previous levels, and there's nothing else to do in the big bridge. Actually, you might be able to do the red key without anything else. I'm not really sure. But in this one, I know for sure you can get the red key because I got it. And I know where the, oh my god, I need to stop yeah, this is really what Wario Land 3 is. I need to just accept that. Yeah, see, you gotta make little progress every time. Like, if you fall in that hole that I should remember is there, I get to go up that next ladder. But anyway, I need to first not skip past the red key. That's fine. I don't know if I would call this soundtrack, like, particularly great in the grand scheme of things, but it is very catchy. I love all the different remixes of the Wario Land 3 athletic theme, so to speak. Of course, when I'm Let's Playing, everybody shows up on my Switch menu. I haven't been calling attention to it because, like, hey, guest stars are guest stars. But I'll have to figure out how to turn that off. Or play on my secret Let's Play only account. Anyway, I didn't go to this area the first time through the level, but trust me when I say this beanstalk wasn't here. I like these enemies a lot. I feel like this a lot. These are my two moods, red and spiky, and white and bumpy. Our old friend minigame clear. Yeah, this tile set really sticks with me. I don't really know if I like it, per se. It doesn't really remind me of anything in particular, but the sparkles are really sparkly, and like these semi-transparent ones are really semi-transparent. When I think of Wario Land 3, I'm often thinking of this tile set. I do think it gets used in like probably the most levels out of any particular tile set. Because like, just random caves fit into a lot of different environments this game puts you in. It's like, gotta either be this or the general, like, rocky volcano tile set. Also, it's really rough replaying this game after recently doing a full playthrough because you get a high jump that just makes your, like, basic maneuverability so much better. That being said, I got to the golf game, so what can I complain about, really? You're gonna love this guy. I don't really know if there's like a big brain strat where you like don't go in this rough and then just jump over everything else. I don't think there is. And honestly, you kind of want to be in this bunker because it's like easier to estimate. I think, okay, so that's like literally a little more than halfway. So like here? Yeah, okay. Wario Land 3 rewards the introspective gamer. That's all I can say. I do think if there were like 3 mini games instead of just the golf, this mini game clear block would be a lot less artificial feeling. Honestly, even if they just called it golf clear instead of minigame clear, I think I would prefer that. Anyway, I got a Mentos. Oh, this Mentos was the wheels for the minecart that... How... Is that even accessible yet? I was alluding to that when I first went to that level, but... Huh. Well, anyway, okay, right. I did actually jump the gun in part 1 when I talked about the sun and night, the day and moon. They're up here. That's who I was talking about. And I forgot that they were the third thing you do in this level, not the second. And invisibility is cured by pipes, as we all know. Hey, honestly, a professional LPer wouldn't even be saying stuff like this, but I'm gonna be real with you. This is really making me want to play Pizza Tower. I actually didn't beat Pizza Tower because I have some sort of bad executive function problem that makes me not finish video games that I love. Also, I definitely just, like, wasted a bunch of time because I forgot what I was supposed to be doing. The flat Wario is only helpful for... actually nothing there. So yeah, this level's a little bit easier at night because the moon shoots stars that only shock you, and shocking is a less... Okay, that was a great way to show that off. Yeah, the sun turns you into Fire Wario, which I think I've somehow avoided up to this point, but that makes you just run uncontrollably for much longer than that stunned condition. Also, you could go to the Golf Underground and it would work for the one that I'm clearing with this. Quote-unquote interestingly. Okay, good. But it's not really, like, even more convenient to do it that way. They are a little too, like, there's probably too many of those golf mini games, and I'm just sorry. There's probably a few too many of those golf mini games included in this game, but they're also very front-loaded in this, like, somewhat unusual section of the game where you don't have, like, an overwhelming amount of options on what you can be doing. I don't think the game ever really, like, opens up to give you more than, like, 5 or 6 necessary places to go, but you also have, like, no idea what's necessary at any point, so it still kind of feels bad when you only have, like, a few obvious places to go, and so many in a row are golf-based. That being said, I'm, like, clearing them with no real issue. It might be I'm projecting a lot of my feelings on it as a little kid who was bad at video games onto my contemporary opinions. Oh, I didn't point it out, but that blue crayon specifically colored in the, like, teal grass there. And I think, despite the fact it doesn't look like there's that many different colors to be filled in, every time you get a crayon item, it does that. So yeah, if you remember, I don't remember if I showed it off or if it was visible or what, but there was, like, a rock in this area, nothing else, and that vine sprouted up to reveal that door, which just has the red chest. And let's see what's up here. It's interesting the vine, like, they didn't reuse the sprites when they could have. And yeah, there's that rock that I was alluding to that, like, really looks like it's part of the background, honestly. Not the best sprite work, like, compared to, like, a lot of the foliage and, like, natural environments here look pretty good. Anyway, this is a kind of interesting section. It's somewhat like the wild, big wilds, whatever that level's called with the worm, where you have, like, fall through platforms, but for this one you can look at the spearheads walk and, you know, well, if the spearheads can walk over something, good old Wario can. Spoilers, that doesn't even, like, remain a rule. There's, like, literally something later in the game based on that not being true, but whatever. Oh yeah, another interesting thing, which is, like, purely a hindrance here, is that it's tracking your X position in the map, so it, like, actually puts you at the right side of the level after you've done all that, which just makes it take a little bit longer. I don't know, there's a lot of little touches like that they really make this feel like a cohesive world, despite the fact it's, like, objectively a lot of really small isolated levels. And there's the other ring. If you remember, we got a ring from the last chest, so now we have the 2 rings of power. There we go. The Tower of Revival has been revived. Now, it might have been interesting if they had, like, shown a little bit of a, like, hint that there was something there, but I don't know. It a Game Boy game, you know? Here's Fire Wario. This is an interesting little mechanic which is not isolated to this level. I'm not demonstrating the fail state. Hehehe. Wario fire on top of the chest? What? But yeah, Fire Wario makes you run uncontrollably, and you just bounce when you hit a wall, and then you burn up into a crisp. The challenge there was to set all of those torches on fire with one Fire Wario, which would clear that impassable fire block. And yeah, this level just is, like, throwing so many, like, interactable objects that you can't do anything with again. This is another level that just, like, feels so huge to me, despite not being that big. I think it has something to do with, like, nostalgia, just playing it as a kid, but, like, they definitely do a lot with the limited space. I hope you like hearing me just, like, heap somewhat generic praise onto this game, because it's really all I have to say about it. I think it's a delightful little, puzzle box. One of the more Metroid-y aspects, the unmarked destructible blocks, but now that gives you a shortcut. You can just use these guys to get back up here this way. Definitely intentionally showed that off and didn't flub up the intended sequence. And there's our key. And usually whenever you see something like that, that just means there's a music. I think you could see like half of the sprite for half of a frame. Whenever there's something like that that's like clearly contained within one of the keys or chests areas, but like is a different place you can go, it's always a music coin. I think it's sort of inspired that like that chest was right at the beginning. You can kind of see the DNA leading into Wario Land 4 and Shake It. And there we go, the second upgrade. This is the flipper. It gives Wario a webbed foot that he can use to swim. So Wario can swim through regular water, which he couldn't do before, but he can't swim through water that looks like arrows pointing in a direction. He can tread water in a neutral way, which is somewhat relevant, and all of a sudden, those water levels have more stuff for us. But I think that's a pretty good place to call it for this part. Thanks for watching. This has been Cthulhuigi. This has been Wario Land 3, that is. Semper Games. Semper Wario. Good night.